Muy buena gente, bienvenidos de vuelta al canal, bienvenidos al último episodio de... A ver, Regis, Deadlaf, parad un poquito, anda. Bienvenidos al último episodio de The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, de este final bueno que vamos a empezar ahora. No sé cuánto va a durar este capítulo, pero como os dije en el anterior, va a ser entero, dure lo que dure. Vais a ver aquí el final bueno, voy a intentar editarlo lo máximo posible para que sea lo más corto posible. Pero aquí vais a tener todo el final de The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, el bueno. El siguiente vídeo que veáis será el final, el otro final. Hay dos finales más, el malo y el regular. Yo lo llamo regular, pero no sé qué nombre tiene. El malo y el regular. Lo veréis en los próximos episodios. En el siguiente me parece que veréis el regular y en el siguiente el final malo. Así que vais a ver los tres finales. Así que, como recordad, voy a leer la misión. Tessa Murnan ayuda a Regis a luchar contra Deadlaf. Geralt había hecho todo lo necesario. Ya podía dirigirse a la infame Tessa Murnan, donde volvería a enfrentarse a Deadlaf. Recordad que conseguimos el lazo para Syanna y eso le permitió a Syanna desaparecer cuando Deadlaf le iba a atacar y se teletransportó, entre comillas, a ese mundo ilusorio de cuento. Así que venga, vamos a luchar contra Deadlaf. Al lío. Vale. Vale, ya me lo esperaba. Igual que la primera fase de... Es igual que el que vimos ya una vez. El Deadlaf que vimos ya una vez. Si es igual, el fuego le hará pupa, ¿no? Yeah. Me da que este es el Super Saiyan de nivel 2, ¿no? No sé qué cojones es eso. No se quema, tío. Esta fase no se quema. Irden veo que hace efecto. No le quito nada, tío. No le quito nada. No le quito nada. No sé qué cojones es eso, pero no voy a esperar a que me pegue. Se cae, se tira porque en cuanto entra el Irden se cae. Los enemigos voladores. Aparte tengo el Irden con una intensidad de señal de la hostia. No sé qué es eso, tío. Pero no voy a dejar que me dé. Me quito más tirándole el Igni. Ay, no me hace nada. Se tira por mí, pero no me hace nada porque se mete en el Irden. Yo no sé qué es eso, tío. Mira como un murciélago. No sé lo que me quita. Todavía no me ha tocado, ¿eh? Ahí, se mete en el Irden. se cae, tío. Se cae cuando se mete dentro del Írden. Vaya suerte, tío. Vaya suerte. No le quito nada, ¿eh? No. Ah, le quito más con el... Le quito más tirándole el Igni. ¿Ya? Ya no vuela. Maravilloso. Un huevo, ¿qué coño pasa aquí? Vale, ya lo he pillado. Quiero probar algo. A ver, ¿funciona? Sí. Mira, le quita el alternativo de... No dura mucho. No dura mucho el mob este. Que esto es un mob realmente. Le pongo el alternativo de... Mira, me le quita un huevo el alternativo de Írden. Ah, dale. A ver, es que le quita un huevo, chaval. En cuanto... ¿Y ahora qué? Ya está, le queda un golpe y ya está, solo para rematarlo y punto. Ah, pues nada, lo remato con un golpe de espada.
Leave him to me. Be gone.
I can't let...
I insist.
Solo un vampiro supremo puede matar a otro. Misión cumplida, Tessa Munna, 2 semanas más tarde, taller del sastre. Y aquí vamos a ver el final, bueno.
You wear it well. Shut up. I look like a twit.
The caftan is sewn of the best fabrics available, and according to the best tailoring practices. But one must have a modicum of taste to appreciate this. Even the most exquisite robes cover only deficiencies in beauty, never in refinement.
Usually wear something different, better suited to my trade. Got nothing against this particular outfit, though. Just don't exactly feel comfortable in it. And I despise formal occasions.
Nothing one can't get accustomed to. Now, be so kind as to stand still. All that being as it may, Toussaint's highest honor, the Order of Vitis Vinifera, demands appropriate attire. The Duchess cannot be expected to drape the medal on a suit of armor caked in mud. Palace protocol places enormous emphasis on form, virtuous tradition, etiquette.
Huh. A tradition which values appearances ahead of all else. Which calls for lordly, glistening triviality and misplaced generosity.
Sound wistful. Pensive, Regis. That because they refuse to buy you a new outfit?
Hardly. It's the tone I ever adopt when I find myself pondering, which, believe it or not, happens quite a lot. Besides, I've no need for a new outfit as I shall not be attending the ceremony.
Why not?
Because unlike you, I don't have to. I shall begin to pack my belongings instead. I trust you'll join me later, once you're richer by a medal and a fascinating new experience?
Count on it. Ceremonies, medals honoring virtues, just keeps coming up.
I've had no reprieve either. And I keep thinking of the last great virtue, compassion. It's the one piece of the puzzle that never seemed to fit.
Mean you suddenly believe the 5 virtues theory, after all we've revealed?
It's not a question of belief, superstition, or old wives' tales. It's a conclusion derived through exercising pure logic. Syanna planned everything in advance. Had we not stopped her, surely there'd have been a 5th victim. One the gossips would have associated with a lack of compassion.
Her plans don't matter now. Can't act on them. Ask the messenger who delivered my invitation to the ceremony. Syanna's in the palace. Courtiers pressured the Duchess to lock her in a tower.
Do you care not a whit who else was in her black book? We've some time before the ceremony. We could still chat with that boot-cleaning urchin. He was the one to pass the victims' names to Dettlaff. Perhaps we missed something.
Regis, Bootblack didn't say anything about making deliveries when we talked to him. How do you know he handled the letters?
While you basked in glory and tried on new formal wear, I conducted a little investigation of my own. You'd be very proud to see how I conducted myself. I began by concocting an ample supply of boot wash for our enterprising young friend. I'd observed that among street folk, amidst their society as a whole, reciprocity takes precedence over all other codes, and thus no good deed goes unrewarded. Of course, the same holds true for malicious or destructive deeds.
The letters, what's the connection?
When the bootblack arrived to collect his bucketful, he hinted he knew more. Simply put, we'd failed to ask the proper questions when we chatted earlier. It took a bit more tongue-loosening, but ultimately he spoke. He admitted he'd handed Dettlaff the letters. He knew this information was valuable to me. In providing it, he was simply repaying me.
Tienes razón, tenemos que hablar con el limpiabotas. Vamos.
All in all, why not check up on that? We'll go together, assuming we're done here.
I am done, yes. It lies in your hands now to see if you are able to present my handiwork at the ceremony with the dignity it is due. Or if you will first destroy it, crawling about the city's underbelly.
Promise to be careful.
Poco después, San Sebastián, en los barrios bajos.
It's the swordsman. Good to see you. Here for a spiffing? Dirty boots are a stain on professional dignity, you know. Step on up.
Need to ask you something.
Yet again? Go on then. I'm a proponent of free speech and I will gladly tell you all I know. But why not get your boots shanked while we jabber?
Guess they could use a spit and polish.
Then I shall take advantage as well. A friend of mine used to say boots should be as clean as the soles that wear them.
Clean boots, clean soles. A fine slogan.
How's business?
Well enough. I can't complain. Though it'd be even better were certain folk to sit down for a shine as they stood and chatted.
Man in the frock coat. You passed him some letters, remember?
Why, of course. I'm young, got a mind like a steel trap, but...
If you're about to tell me this information will cost me, forget it. How'd you get those letters?
Beggars brought them.
Why didn't you tell us this before, when we first talked?
You didn't ask about beggars now, did you?
Beggars. Tell us more about them. How many were there?
Why, 4. 1 for each letter.
Just 4? Sure you didn't get a 5th?
I can't count, you know.
Remember anything else? These beggars have anything in common?
What? Come now. Each was different. Some had mismatched boots, others had no boots at all. Oh, I know! They all had no home!
Kid, my patience is starting to run a little thin. Now think hard. Where'd they get the letters? They pick them up? Get them from someone?
I don't know. They'd come, hand me a letter, and walk away. I asked no questions.
Geralt, allow me to ask a question. Listen, lad. I'll be glad to mix another batch of that bootshine for you. But you must focus now and tell us all you know. Where can we find the beggars?
Well, at the shelter, most like.
Where's that?
Everyone knows. It's just round the corner. Up those stairs, then right.
Thanks, kid. For your trouble. You must visit the shelter. Look around inside.
Al encuentra el refugio.
Elsewhere, got it? This is it. You? What do you want?
To talk.
Here, that's a waste of breath. We've tried it, only to tire our lips. We'll use other means of persuasion now.
Gentlemen, calm, please.
Either get out along with these flea-ridden vagabonds, or we'll toss you all out. Our patience is gone. This place is no longer a rank refuse dump.
Scram! Decent folk live here.
The shelter, them living here, bothers you. Question is why.
Look, Ballard. Another defender of the poor. Fighter for justice.
Damn nuisance. We've our women and young folk living next door, when even grown men fear to walk past such rabble.
Decent folk you mention. Mean yourselves.
Why? Do you doubt it?
Hell yes.
Hear that, Artois? He poking insults us. On our own turf.
We should step aside, good fellow. My friend is perfectly capable of settling this unfortunate dispute on his own.
Los mira como diciendo, ¿qué me estás contando ahora? Bueno, esto se lo editaré o cortaré el combate. Y veréis cómo gano de manera humillante.
All right. I can take a hint. Come, time to go.
I thank you so much for your aid. I tried to reason with them, but they'd have beat me blue had you not come along. I'm grateful. Immensely.
What did they want from you?
They are neighbors. Wish me to take my folk, the shelter, elsewhere. They dislike that I help the beggars. I do not oppose going elsewhere, were we to have somewhere to go. But you've come with a problem, have you? My turn to aid you.
What is this place? Poorhouse?
You could call it that. They come here to rest and eat a hot meal.
You help them, why?
Because they need help.
Need some information. Looking for a man who might have mentioned the Bootblack in Rue de Garl.
The Bootblack? A feisty lad. I know him.
Any of your, wards supposed to meet him recently or soon?
Forgive me. Those I help and I are not so close that I would know. But should you wait, they'll all soon come for their meal. You can question them yourselves.
Sure all your usual beggars will be here?
They're not obliged to come, of course. But they rarely find a decent meal elsewhere. So, almost all in the area eat here.
Thanks. We'll wait. Nice of you to let us.
Unas horas después.
My dears, I've a matter to address before I serve the soup. These two gentlemen have some questions of you. Pay attention. Answer in brief. For if you draw it out, your soup will go cold. And we wouldn't want that, would we?
Recently, 4 of you delivered sealed letters to the Bootblack. I know this.
Does anyone know what the gentleman means? Go on, speak up. Romain?
Why should I squeal? We were all told not to mention the letters. We all swore.
You can tell me, Romain. You were given a letter and you delivered it, right? Good work, Romain. Thank you. Who else?
I got one too. Gave it to the Bootblack. And Freshy, he got one. But he can't tell you, as he's not here.
I still have mine. I'm to deliver it 2 days after the Feast of St. Barnabas.
I need the letter. It's very important. It's no use to you anymore.
But I was to deliver it personally. Let no one else see it. That is what she said, and she was frightening.
You ought to heed folk who are kind and honest. These men helped me a short while ago, helped all of us. If this individual threatened you, you need not keep the promise you made.
All right, take it. I didn't want to see the Bootblack anyways. It's always muddy there.
Carta que revela el nombre de la quinta víctima.
Damn it.
La duquesa. ¿Apuesta?
Name, truly?
See for yourself.
¿La duquesa?
Well. I must say, even I did not expect this. This time you will see to it.
Oh.
It seems we
10
underestimated
de 10.
Siana rather grossly.
Judging by this, Dettlaff was literally supposed to tear her heart out.
Yet first you must snap her neck. Puzzling.
Puzzle complete now.
Alas, the matter's ceased to be a tantalizing brain tease and has turned incredibly grave. We've proof of a plot to assassinate Toussaint's ruler. We've proof of a coup d'etat.
Duchess was to be Dettlaff's last victim. Siana planned it from the start.
Indeed. The logical conclusion, Geralt.
4 seemingly random victims to start. The virtue's their only link. Enough to get folk talking about a righteous, vengeful beast. Obscured the victim's links to Siana, even as she had those she despised killed off one by one, leaving the Duchess for last.
Had she managed to fulfill her plan, none would have questioned the reasons. Most would have thought Anna Henrietta had died for her sins. She was known to show a hard heart on many occasions, ample proof of a lack of compassion.
Why would Siana murder her own sister? Out of envy? To take power? From an inborn penchant for evil?
Yes, yes, and yes. All seem likely, and none are mutually exclusive. But if you'd like to know for certain, you could always ask her yourself.
Think it's a good idea? After all, we foiled her carefully planned scheme. Think she'll even want to?
Talk to you? Would it harm you in any way to try? Some philosophers think empirical examination the sole path to knowledge. I believe you mentioned the Duchess keeps Siana locked up.
Courtiers were insisting on a harsher punishment. Much harsher. Think Anna Henrietta had to protect her sister from a lynch mob as much as she wanted to protect her subjects from a criminal. One way or another, she's locked away in a secluded wing of the palace, awaiting trial before a court of law. I'd need to get past some guards to see her. Coming with?
Of course not. I shall await you at Mare la Chaise-Longue. I'll not risk entering the palace after Dettlaff and his minions rampage.
Besides, I vastly prefer the company of a simple mug of mandrake brew to that of the Duchess's vile sister.
So, said straight up, it means you're going off to get drunk because you hate Siana.
I've never been fond of categorical statements of that kind, but I admit I could not vouch for my behavior in her presence.
She treated Dettlaff cruelly.
Caused his death in the end, and now this? Atop all that? No, Geralt. I will not go with you. I will await you at the cemetery.
Opcional, habla con Siana. Vale, pues meto un corte y vamos a hablar con Siana.
Halt!
Need to see Siana, urgently.
In the matter of?
Want to talk to her. It's important.
Want to talk? Go see your gran at tea time.
Mierda.
Not one locked up on the Duchess's orders. No doing without special permission. Period.
Found some information important to her case. Need an explanation, urgently.
Ah, fine then. You're that witcher who solved the murders, no? Then you've my permission, but only for a few minutes.
Promise to be brief.
Y al guardia hasta la celda de Siana.
The Witcher will speak with the inmate. You can take a momentary break.
As long as it's truly but a moment. Highly irregular, this.
Have you come to see how I fare? I'm fine, thank you. Artorius' ribbon worked wonders. It's a shame they took it from me.
I know who the fifth victim was supposed to be.
Goodness, you're simply a compulsive snoop. I'm in prison. Dettlaff is dead. Could you not just drop it?
Siana, stop pretending you couldn't care less. I know it's an act, and it's really starting to wear. Why do you want to kill her?
For such an accomplished investigator to ask about the obvious? Come now, Geralt. Why do you think?
Por la maldición del sol negro, porque tenías envidia de ella, porque te dio la espalda, se olvidó de ti. Es la tercera porque se lo dice a Geralt cuando va con él en el mundo ese de las ilusiones, se lo dice.
Because she turned her back on you, then banished all memory of you.
Bravo, Geralt. Yet another riddle solved, and your sick curiosity sated. Well, what now? Off to share your discovery with Anna Henrietta? Oh, she's no longer in danger, true. But she very well might add a little something to your reward.
Definitely gonna tell her. Not necessarily for the coin, though.
Then why do it at all?
She ought to know. If only 'cause you'll probably try to kill her again if she ever lets you out.
I probably will.
Perhaps, just for a second, you could stop dwelling on all the wrongs folk have done you and forgive her.
Why should I?
For old time's sake. You loved each other once.
Please. I don't know who fed you that rubbish, but...
Read your governess's diary. You played together, were inseparable. Henrietta get you into trouble sometimes, sure. But there were also times she stood up for you. When you had nightmares, only she could calm you. Time eats away at memories, distorts them. Sometimes we only remember the good. Sometimes only the bad.
If she loved me so, why did she wash her hands off me? Forget me, hmm?
Don't know. But you could just ask her instead of sending monsters after her.
There's nothing she could say to change what she did to me, to justify it.
Maybe. But there's nothing out there to justify what you did to her and all Toussaint. Yet Anna Henrietta hasn't given up on you.
Ugh. You meant what you said in the Land of a Thousand Fables. You really want a happy ending to this story, don't you? Ah, with all of us living happily ever after. Go, Witcher, or they'll give your medal to another. And that would be a shame.
Farewell, Syanna.
Commander de la Tour would like to see you. Shall we go at once?
Sí.
Let's go. Want to see him too. Damien.
Geralt, it's about time. Ready for the ceremony?
Your face doesn't look good. What the hell happened?
The city was attacked. Surely you don't imagine I could stand and watch it all from some ivory tower.
Me parece muy mala idea decirle a todo esto, a los guardias y todo, decir que la quinta víctima es la duquesa. Me parece muy mala idea. Así que vamos a intentar ignorar esas opciones.
Very well. But you must behave. Less like a hired thug, and more like a man deserving of the Duchy's highest honor. In fact, you'd do best to maintain a dignified silence throughout. Let's begin the ceremony. Come with me. The Duchess awaits.
Unas horas después.
In the Guild's name, I beg your assistance, your enlightened highness. Without barrels, production will come to a stop, and it will be the end of us.
You lost them all in the fire. These are horrible tidings. Oh, we are most dreadfully saddened.
Yes, your enlightened highness all. Once the beasts had clawed their way into the warehouse, the whole place went up in flames.
I shall dispatch a palace guardsman to examine the site of the blaze. If things are, as you say, fitting compensation shall be paid from the ducal treasury.
Thank you, your enlightened highness. Your Grace, Geralt of Rivia has arrived.
My dear subjects, we come now to our next point of business. Of all the duties which fall upon my shoulders, as the ruler of this dominion, this duty is dearest to my heart. For now, we shall award the Order of Vitis Vinifera, Toussaint's highest honor.
Geralt of Rivia, slayer of the Beast of Beauclair.
Step forth.
We bestow the distinction upon the Witcher, who saved Beauclair from the terrible beast. Such is our desire.
Logro desbloqueado.
May the symbol serve as a reminder to all that the Witcher shall forever remain a friend of Beauclair. In more familiar terms now, I thank you immensely, Geralt. Damien has your reward for you. After all, it was but a contract.
Thank you.
I have a small surprise for you, in addition. I give you more than
5,000, ¿en serio?
Real, a wine normally reserved for the ducal table. The gustatory experience of a lifetime awaits. Are you content?
Y de repente le dices, tengo malas noticias, Syanna pretendía mataros.
Feels like a second distinction. I'm honored. Thank you.
I trust you shall make good use of it. In a moment I shall speak to Syanna. Will you assist me? You returned my sister to me, yet you also showed me her horrendous deeds. As head of state, I must judge her fairly, but she is my sister. Thus my heart bleeds for her.
If my presence will help in any manner, of course I'll stay.
We shall now question a person implicated in the murders which recently ravaged our fair city of Beauclair. Captain de la Tour, show Sylvia Anna in.
The Witcher will take part in our talk.
The Duchess requested I be present.
You have committed crimes. Grave crimes. Yet you are my sister, and my heart does not allow me to treat you as a common criminal. Thus I have asked Geralt to advise me, as one impartial. I shall now hear what he has to say.
¿Os dais cuenta? Hay pequeños... de vez en cuando en las conversaciones hay como cierto... que se nota como que el modelado de los personajes hace un pequeño corte, como un pequeño salto. Esos pequeños saltos es cuando entran conversaciones según las decisiones que hayas tomado. Ahora, se ha visto hace nada, lo que pasa es que no he podido hablar porque estaba hablando Ana Henrietta, pero se ha visto un microsalto del modelado del personaje de Ana Henrietta, porque eso es porque según cómo haya ido la historia, dice una frase u otra, y se producen, y eso se nota en los microsaltos que hacen los modelados de los personajes. Se nota, yo al menos lo noto, hay mucha gente que no lo nota, pero yo sí lo noto. A ver...
Bitterness consumes Syanna. She had cause to resent many of the court of Beauclair. I know her reasons, understand them even. But I can't condone the actions she chose to take.
What is he talking about, Syanna?
You know exactly what. I was forcibly exiled, remember? To your benefit. You knew well the throne would then be yours, though I was the elder. The ministers I can understand. They'd hated me since I was a child, thought me a poor prospect for the wife of a duke. I even understand our parents. I'd always sensed the problem. They simply feared me, for I dared to be free. That fabricated curse, it fell into their laps. A gift from above that brought relief. But you... your dagger hurt most. You were my Henrietta, dammit. My darling little sister. Now do you understand, Witcher? She betrayed me.
Claim to understand them all? Why'd you come back for revenge? Have them all cut down then?
They deserved my vengeance. They detested me, all of them, as long as I can remember. But Anarietta understood me. Once. She was all I could cling to. Her betrayal hurt the most.
You were children then. You and your sister both had no control over what happened.
You're wrong, Witcher. She had control. Remember, dear sister, the day they banished me from the palace. Of course, I'd had the idea to pelt the Nilfgaardian envoy with fish platters, which we filled with rancid suet on a lark. And which you set afire at the last, to impress me, I imagine. And I admit, you did. Hit him right in his hideous bald patch. Never laughed so hard in my life. But when it came time to find the culprit, you said not a word. I took all the blame and all the punishment. It's true. I did not stand up for you. I was too afraid. The council was unanimous. They listed all my offenses. My flights from the palace, supposed acts of cruelty, inappropriate friendships. They cast me out, but you, the only one to understand me, you cowered in a corner, lifted not a finger to help. Not before, not after. You never tried to find me.
That's not true. I searched for you. Sent out knights, gathered tidings from without. You did not wish to be found. Since the day you vanished, I have lived with the knowledge that I failed you. I'm sorry, dear sister. Can you forgive me?
That final bueno, yo. Poco después, cementerio de Mare Lachaise.
Best part of the whole ceremony? It was short.
Perhaps for you, as you ducked out early. The others are probably just getting started. The drunkenness never ends in this quaint realm.
Not so fond of Toussaint after all, are we?
Ah, this place is like a strong wine, Geralt. Good in small sips. How do you find my personal brew? Not too strong?
Just right.
Credit the local mandrake of the Alrauna diabolus variety for that. The tubers which grow in this area's volcanic soil have an altogether unique flavor profile and display a remarkably uncommon dark brown tint.
Fascinating. All I can say is this batch turned out excellent.
Indeed. It might be wise to stockpile some roots for the future. Would you care to accompany me?
You decide to go root picking now? It's dark out.
Ah, Geralt. Even were I generously to assume it had simply slipped your mind that I am a vampire and thus need no light to see, I'd never believe you had also forgotten that you likewise have absolutely no trouble seeing in the dark. So, shall we?
Venga, vamos.
If you think it's a good idea, let's go. But I think you might be forgetting one thing. Fresh mandrake root of this variety is highly toxic, even to a witcher.
Ah, not a problem. I never forget matters of safety and hygiene in alchemy. Here, gloves and a mask. Don them, and you shall be in no danger.
Thanks. Right then, let's go.
Esta misión así...
Moonlight makes me oh so dreamy.
Penny for your thoughts. Let me guess. Succubus twins?
No, I was thinking about... oh, how anything can look interesting when properly lit.
Even an old necrophage corpse?
You've not an ounce of refinement in you, have you?
Vale, opcional. Ponte la máscara y guantes. Joder. No sé a qué cojones viene esta misión, pero... ¡ok! Vuelve con Regis.
Now, where'd that bloodsucker go? Won't be easy to track down. He's a vampire after all.
Usa tus sentidos de brujo para encontrar a Regis.
Regis!
Mierda, que...
Those Bruxae, they called you a traitor.
Alas, we've a very simple code of honor, we vampires. So simple you might call it trivial. Either one is with us, unconditionally, regardless of the circumstances, or...
Won't let it go, will they?
They will not. Fortunately, we've another rule, an unwritten one, and just as trivial as the first. It is neatly summarized in the saying, out of sight, out of mind. That is why I must leave Toussaint. For a vastly long time, most like.
Yeah, I get it.
Let us make for my camp. I've an overwhelming desire to have another drink.
Poco después.
Supreme bouquet. Firm, defined beginning. Then develops gently, rising to a startling finish. Don't you think?
Not much of a connoisseur.
Then it is high time you started your education. After all, the Corvo Bianco vineyard is now yours. By the way, I left a gift for you at your new home. On the nightstand.
Thanks. Mind telling me what it is?
A trifle. That will nonetheless be useful should you need mutagens. Incidentally, have you thought about what you'll do with your prize? Shall you hang your swords over the mantle and take to pruning vines?
Sí, creo que echaré raíces ahí definitivamente. No, estoy hecho para matar monstruos. Todavía no lo sé. Esto es... Vamos, supongo que es para... Por si has... Yo es que he completado el 100% del juego. No tengo nada más que hacer. En esta partida, nada.
Don't really know yet. Might find the life of a hard-working vintner too tempting one day. Or maybe I'll just stick to the path. Go on roaming, staring up at the stars after laying my bedroll at the roadside.
Ah, roadsides, bedrolls, and the sky above. I sense some poetry coming on. Which, of course, brings to mind Dandelion. I can remember a night, not too far from here if I'm not mistaken. We hid in a cave while a blizzard raged all about. Does that sound at all familiar?
How could it not? We just set off to rescue Ciri from Vilgefortz.
Oh, our encounter with Vilgefortz. That is something I do not remember so fondly. But that first stay in Beauclair, far calmer than this one.
Seemed like a land straight out of a fairy tale back then. Its sole problem, cellars too small to accommodate all that wine.
Appearances, Geralt. Appearances, like Mamoons and Dopplers, deceive. So what did become of Vilgefortz?
Killed him. Sure wasn't easy, though. What about you? Any idea where you'll go?
Distance is of the essence. I thought I might venture south.
Nilfgaard?
Why ever not? The Nilfgaardians are a modern society. None there believe in vampires anymore. This fact alone could be very useful to one wishing to remain incognito.
Interesting point of view. I so don't feel like going anywhere. Sit here a while longer?
So we shall, my friend. We have witnessed, and in fact on several occasions incited, many great and weighty events. After all that toil, I believe we deserve a bit of a rest.
That we do.
Buah. Eres el puto amo, Geralt, tío. Buah. Bueno, gente, aquí acaba la expansión. Bueno, aquí no, porque me parece que hay una escena post-crédito. Así que voy a hablar un minuto, después lo vamos a dejar. Aquí dejamos la expansión Blood and Wine, el final bueno. Subiré más vídeos, el próximo vídeo será el final, ya sea el final regular o medio y el final malo. Los tengo pensado subirlo en los próximos vídeos. Pero aquí acaba el final bueno. El que habéis visto es el final bueno. Repito, el mejor que podéis sacar. Para sacarlo tenéis que ir por el lado, en el lado de las misiones, en lo de elegir misión tenéis que elegir siempre el lado de Siana. Tenéis que recuperar el lazo de Siana en el mundo ese ilusorio. Y al hablar con Siana tenéis que convencerla, ser amable con ella y convencerla para que perdone a Anarrieta. Y bueno, aquí acaba la expansión. Voy a darle el escape para ver esa escena post-crédito. Por muy humilde que sea, ve a tu casa. ¿Te das cuenta? Ya no sale ve a Corvo Bianco, dice ve a tu casa. Es un matiz importante. En el resto de misiones siempre te decía ve a Corvo Bianco o no sé qué en Corvo Bianco. Reforma Corvo Bianco. Ahora es ve a tu casa.
Master Witcher, some unknown individual barged into the residence. I resisted as best I could, but to no avail.
Who is it?
Alas, they did not do me the basic courtesy of introducing themselves.
What's that smell?
You look good. Come. Don't just stand there. I want a hug.
What did you bring?
A Garkin from Angren. I slew it. All by my lonesome.
That why you left Carrera so suddenly? Had no idea where you'd gone. Your note was puzzling. Don't try to find me. Threw me for a loop.
That was silly. It's just that I felt stifled in your shadow. I'd have suffocated had I stayed. So when I read that notice, the contract, when I saw Angren, I knew I had to do it. Alone. Without my nanny.
I'm not your nanny. I believe in you. Like my new house?
The house is lovely. But it could use a bit of work.
Yeah, got plans for it, don't worry. Wanna go outside? Could show you the grounds.
Ah, it's lovely here. I could stay forever.
What's stopping you?
Actually, not a thing. I slew a Garkin, collected my bounty. I believe I'm owed some respite.
Indeed you do, mademoiselle, as my major domo would say.
You've a butler?
A steward. Name's Barnabas Basil. BB for short, though I don't know if he likes it. He's the one let you in. I'll ask him to bring in some fruit, a beverage. You can spend the rest of the day lying about.
Nothing would make me happier.
Bueno, gente, aquí nos hemos encontrado con Ciri, porque yo el juego base ya me lo he pasado. Si te pasas el juego base con el final bueno, en el que Ciri se vuelve brujo, te sale este final, te sale Ciri al final. Si acabas el juego con una relación con Yennefer, te sale Yennefer al final. Ahora en Corvo Bianco, aquí en tu casa, te sale Yennefer, con una serie de conversaciones también con Yennefer. Si tienes una relación con Triss, te sale Triss. Y en el caso de que no te hayas acabado el juego, de que no tengas una relación con Yennefer, no tengas una relación con Ciri, con Triss, te sale Jaskier. Jaskier es el comodín. En el caso en el que no cumpla esos requisitos, te sale Jaskier aquí. Así que esos son los 4 personajes que te pueden salir. Que yo sepa, Que yo sepa, no he visto otra opción, otras opciones para que te salga otro personaje.
Being a Witcher anything like you imagined?
Geralt, I didn't have to imagine anything. Remember, before we parted, we walked a good stretch of the path together.
Journeyman and master, though, not the same thing.
I'm still a long way from mastering anything, but I am trying. Anyway, I did learn from the best.
Just passed on what worked for me, or at least tried to.
I was thinking of Eskel Lambert.
So, no regrets? Choice you made?
Not at all. I'm doing what I ever wanted to do. Being who I wanted to be. I believe that's one definition of happiness.
Encountered the most charming aspect of being a Witcher yet?
Which aspect is that?
The hatred, disgust, that strange blend of admiration, fear, and contempt.
They set their hounds on me in one village. In another, they forbade me from taking a drink from their well. Other than that, it's been all right. No one's tried to cheat me out of my reward so far.
I'd hoped they'd treat a woman differently.
Geralt, when they treat a woman differently in this world, it hardly ever means better. Quite the opposite.
Engrin, how'd it go? Garcanes can be pretty tough opponents.
That's why I had to lure this one to a place both spacious and empty, where it would have nowhere to hide. I found an abandoned crypt far from any town or village.
Good choice. Always best to avoid additional casualties, so your foe had nowhere to hide. But the bastard was still damn quick, I bet.
Not as quick as I am. My greater worry was its strength. I was far outclassed there. But a dose of black blood did the trick. We fought a while, I feigned a mistimed dodge and let it drink. The rest was easy.
Orgulloso, se ve Geralt.
See you later, Ciri.
Take care of yourself.
Y gente, aquí acaba The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine. Ciri ya se queda aquí, puedes hablar con ella en las mismas conversaciones, no hace nada más que yo sepa. Y voy a explicaros, ya que estamos aquí, voy a explicaros el regalo que te deja Regis. Te lo deja aquí. Carta de Regis. Querido Geralt, bueno, este es el pergamino de la quinta víctima. Querido Geralt, si estás leyendo esto significa que estoy muy lejos de la frontera de Toussaint y que has encontrado mi mutagenerador. Por supuesto puedes llamar a este instrumento como desees, tal vez algo más adecuado a tus gustos o que refleje mejor su función. Pero no tengo duda que tus conocimientos en la materia son de lejos más profundos y completos que los míos. He estado trabajando en este dispositivo en mi tiempo libre, pero ya está terminado y estoy convencido, tanto como puede estarlo un inventor antes de que su creación haya sido usada para lo que fue concebida, de la utilidad de este aparato. Seguro que estarás preguntando cuál es su función. Como su nombre indica, el mutagenerador genera mutágenos al accionarse sobre las ondas de energía electromagnética de los cadáveres, en este caso de los cadáveres de los monstruos y malhechores que a los que mate, y cuando ha absorbido suficiente como para disponer de una cantidad de carga crítica, el mutagenerador transforma la energía almacenada en un mutágeno mayor, del cual sospecho harás buen uso. De un mutágeno mayor, del cual sospecho harás buen uso. Como seguro comprenderás, soy un ingeniero aficionado, por lo que debes disculpar la imposibilidad de controlar esta operación por ti mismo. El mutágeno que emerge como resultado se determina aleatoriamente, lo que significa que el azar decide si es un mutágeno verde, rojo o azul. Mayor siempre. Al azar, sí, aunque he detectado que los colores, en términos generales, tienden a alterarse. Confío en que encuentres útil mi obsequio, tu querido amigo y fiel amigo Emil Reis Rogeles III Godefroy. Postdata, después de estar preguntándote por qué decidí dejar el mutagenerador en tu finca en lugar de entregártelo en persona, bueno, debes saber que lo hice por pura modestia, lo creas o no. Cuídate, Geralt, que mi obsequio sea de provecho. Y tenemos el mutagenerador, que lo tenéis aquí. Aquí, que podéis ver que tiene... No hay que equiparlo ni nada, simplemente lo tiene aquí. Como veis tiene cargas, cada vez que te carga un enemigo sale una carga. O sea, aumenta una carga. Cuando te cargas a 100 enemigos te da un mutágeno, sin mal, un mutágeno mayor que puede ser aleatorio, según tengo entendido yo. Esto sirve, si no te lo quitan, porque no lo sé, no lo he probado, esto sirve para el New Game Plus, creo. Me parece que si empiezas la partida en New Game Plus, esto ya lo tiene. Por lo tanto, como no hace falta equiparlo ni nada, pues son mutágenos que te dan de gratis. Y si no puedes farmear aquí lo que quieras, aquí en este mundo completo al 100% te pones a farmear lo que te dé la gana y cuando tengas 1000 mutágenos si quieres, pues entonces empieza el New Game Plus con los mutágenos. Bueno, gente, y nada más que añadir, aquí vamos a terminar este vídeo que ha quedado el final bueno, completo. Repito, no es el último episodio de Blood and Wine, porque voy a subir el final regular. Es que no sé cómo llamarlo, tío. He buscado en guías de CD Projekt y no lo llaman opción B o opción 2. No lo llaman ni final regular ni final medio. Pero bueno, voy a subir el final malo, sí lo voy a subir, y el regular también para que lo veáis. Van a estar divididos en 2 vídeos. No sé si más largos, más cortos. Seguramente el regular, como hay menos modificaciones, seguramente estará en un vídeo mucho más corto. El malo sí que es verdad que cambian un par de misiones, será un vídeo más largo. Pero bueno, aquí habéis tenido el Let's Play de Blood and Wine en la dificultad Marcha de la Muerte, con un Geralt a señales. Pongo aquí para que veáis mi build final, cómo se ha quedado. Y poco más, me ha encantado el juego. Haré una valoración probablemente en este vídeo, ya me ha quedado muy largo. Probablemente haré un análisis, ya sea en el vídeo del final malo o en el vídeo del otro final. Haré una valoración más amplia para que este vídeo no ocupe mucho. Así que lo dicho, nos seguimos viendo en los próximos finales de Blood and Wine. Recordad apoyar la serie, decirme qué os ha parecido, decirme si queréis ver algún juego más en el canal. Y lo dicho, like si os ha gustado, suscribiros si queréis más de... Bueno, si queréis más no, si queréis poco más, porque ya poco más de The Witcher 3 me queda por subir. Si queréis más de Witcher 3, y nos vemos en próximos episodios. Saludos y hasta la vista. Te lo has ganado, Geralt. Te lo has ganado, el merecido descanso.